is time for your weekly breakdown on the latest in entertainment, sports, pop culture, and all things Milwaukee. This is Nothing But the Truth with Melanie Ricks. Now streaming on 1017 The Truth YouTube with the witty banter, latest trends on social media, and hottest celebrity topics, here is Melanie Ricks.
What's really good, y'all? Hello, hello. How's it going? And happy Wednesday to ya. It's actually literally Wednesday. And we don't normally record on Wednesday, so we can actually factually say happy Wednesday. That's so funny.
It feel a little weird.
Isn't it kind of weird? Like, what? I'm sorry, huh? Shout out to Jason Smith, producer extraordinaire. How are you, Jason?
Amazing. You know what I'm saying? Jason Smith, but the people call me Double J. You know how we doing
Double J? Okay. Why Double J?
My middle name is Jermaine.
That's right. We talked about this literally the first episode.
We did?
The first episode, I'm pretty sure we talked about how your middle name is Jermaine.
Oh, I probably said that line.
I think you did. Yeah. And I probably asked you the exact same question. So we'll just keep doing that until it sticks, you know.
Groundhog's Day.
There it is. I love it. How's your Wednesday going? It's hump day.
It's amazing. You know, Milwaukee Night Market going on. So after this, I'm about to go pop out.
You gonna pop out?
Come on now.
Oh,
Sometimes you got to pop out and...
That's funny. Throwback to last week's episode, which speaking of, I was telling Jason this when I walked in the stew. This is also not a throwback necessarily to last week's episode, but kind of, because this obviously represents Rihanna's Super Bowl halftime show. Jason, this is how much I love Rihanna. I have never purchased like Super Bowl halftime gear, but I did when she performed. I bought this. I bought her hoodie. I bought a beanie. Like, I was all in. I really was. And I wore it when she performed.
No, I mean, that's your fandom. You know what I'm saying?
It's like that. I might do the same for K-Dot. But did you know that they actually don't get paid for Super Bowl halftime shows?
I knew, but most people do not know that.
Okay, so that is like kind of a fun fact for people. And a lot of folks are usually like, wait, what? So you saying they're doing this for free? But if you don't mind, explain it to the class. If you do, I'm assuming you know, because you're a hip-hop, you know these things. Okay, why is it that they don't get paid for their halftime shows?
Because they are getting paid for the halftime show.
Yes,
just because they're not getting a check from the NFL. Bro, when they do this, you got to understand, this is the most watched American event. This is the best marketing ever that you could possibly have in America.
Nothing's better.
So when Kendrick Lamar gets done with this concert, you're going to see mostly all his albums jump on the chart.
Yes.
You're going to, obviously Not Like Us is going to stay number one and keep going.
Yes.
He probably going to go on tour a little bit after this. I'm not going to lie to you because of the hype. He got to. You see what Usher did? After Usher, he went right on.
Facts. He started his Vegas residency. But K-Dot don't need to go on tour. That's what's crazy. This man it's funny because actually after we recorded last week's episode, I saw this meme. It was like K-Dot was chilling, watching the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden he dropped a song, and then, well, actually, excuse me, because Drake didn't know how to mine his, for one, and then for two, Drake don't know how to pick his battles. Because that's true. You got to pick the battle. You know what I'm saying? And he picked the wrong one. He did. He picked the wrong one that day. And then K-Dot got off the couch and said, well, I guess I'll go ahead and respond. And then next thing you know, this man is headlining the 2025 Super Bowl halftime. Like, I still can't get over that. And I know that was last week's show, but like the money this man is about to make.
If you look at if you go to his Twitter and you see his tweets, it's literally just the 3 disses and then Super Bowl.
So
like,
funny.
whoa.
So funny, dude. Well, in speaking of money, I actually was talking to one of my friends recently about that. Because we were discussing how they don't get paid for the Super Bowl halftime show. Because, you know, we talk about K-Dot and all the things that are happening with that. And that was a question that came up. One of my friends was like, I wonder how much he's getting paid for that. And I was like, he doesn't get paid. And they were genuinely surprised. I explained the same thing to you. I'm like, it's quite literally the best marketing tool, best marketing platform you could. I mean, people pay to be there. You feel me? Like, come on now. So yeah, no, he's getting paid big time. And my friend, then we kind of like, as we always do, that discussion about the Super Bowl halftime show and whether or not they get paid, if they should get paid, how much they should get paid, it led to a discussion about how much we make. And it's funny because that same friend of mine, she and I, we were in a group chat with my mom, super random. And my mom, it was something that my mom was basically like asking her for a favor. My friend's a photographer. And, you know, they're discussing how much she should get paid for this. And I was in the group chat because I was apparently the photographer's assistant that day, aka my mom's assistant. But so I was the photographer's subject's assistant. But within that, you know, we were talking about that money, and that was fine. Super open conversation, whatever. Fast forward to the actual photo shoot. And, you know, again, my mom was saying like, oh, this is so great. Thank you so much. Like, definitely to say that, you know, this is what you're worth. And then some, like, she was like, girl, you're worth even more. That, like, my mom's like, she's cool like that, right? And then my friend volunteered this information. She said, thank you so much for saying that, because this is my side hustle. I'm actually just starting a brand new full-time job. And my immediate response to her was, oh, how much are they paying you? And my mom was like, Mel, you can't ask that. I was like, well, why not? She knows how much I make. And then she was like, wait, she knows how much you make? I was like, yeah, Mom. I mean, how much do you make? You know what I'm saying? My mom was like, none of your business. But it's funny because growing up, it was very much a like, stay in a child's place and, you know, don't get involved in grown folks' business and don't discuss money. And that was never like you just can't discuss money with adults. No, my mom and like really the people around me made it feel like you shouldn't discuss money, period. Like it's very taboo. It's not something you should talk about. It's inappropriate. It's disrespectful. And I've always like genuinely more so subscribed to the idea of why not discuss money? I need to know if I'm getting my worth. So that being said, do you know how much your friends make? Because I think I know how much my like top 5, I'll call them that. It's giving my space. I think I know how much my 5 closest best friends make because we discuss that stuff. But do you know that about your friends?
I have no clue what any of my friends make. The only people who I have a clue is my female friends. Like, it's, wow, I didn't even think about this. But yeah, like, funny. I feel like they are more likely to tell me.
Yeah.
Me and my guys, we will tell each other how much our bills are, like how much our car payment and our rent and stuff is, but we do not discuss our actual salary.
So then, genuinely, and it's okay if you disagree with me, is it okay for me to discuss that with my friends? Like, is it okay for me to ask my friend how much she makes, in your opinion?
I would say no, but it does depend on the relationship.
Okay.
However, though, the reason why I feel like jealousy could creep in, if you're talking about a friendship or any type of relationship, jealousy or some type of ideal like that could creep in, and that's something I would want to stay back from. I wouldn't stay away from that.
Interesting. Okay. Jealousy. Let's break that down for a second. So my friend, the one whom I was discussing this with most recently, she and I aren't in the same field. We're not even in the same industry. And so I think maybe that's part of it. But what's funny about you saying that, so my full-time profession, I am the Milwaukee Bucks sideline and digital reporter. And I am one of, let's just say 30, because there are 30 NBA teams, okay? And every team is structured a little differently. Believe it or not, some people have like a road sideline reporter, some have a home sideline reporter, so it's different. But let's just say there are 30 of us, right? I want to know how much all 29 of my counterparts make, because I want to make sure I'm getting my worth.
Exactly.
But that being said, Jason, you also got to keep in mind, my counterparts are in New York, Chicago, LA, the Bay. Like, they're in Miami, you know what I'm saying? So everybody's going to make something a little bit different. But I actually think it's very important to know, because what if you're not getting your worth? Or what if, you know, they are lowballing you, which is it's a different way of saying the same thing. But I want to make sure that not only am I getting my worth, but I want them to know that I know my worth. You know what I mean? I know my value. But in that, to share or not to share, that is the question. And do you think that, honestly, Jason, if you're even questioning the jealousy component, is that something where you maybe are looking at your friends like, is it just about the money? Or does it go deeper than that? And I'm not trying to be disrespectful about your relationships, but you feel me like, I feel like the friends that I have shared that with, I don't worry about that with. However, again, they're not in the same industry as me. So you bring up a valid point. But I've never thought about the jealousy of it all, because they don't do what I do. So what is there to be jealous of? You know what I mean?
No, I feel what you're saying. And I think maybe that's just me in my head. Because, like, I just worry. I don't want to
Well, you don't want that. You don't want that smoke. You don't want your friends to be jealous. Who wants their friends to be jealous of them? That's weird.
Like I don't want to put them in like an uncomfortable situation, or I don't want to make. And that's not even just about how much I make. Right, even like my profession and like some of the stuff that like I get to do.
Honest, you have a dope job.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't want to brag about that all the time.
Exactly, and I don't want to make nobody like feel insecure or anything like that. Right. So I think between men are a little bit more competitive. Like no matter what, like we're a little bit more competitive.
You think you're more competitive than women?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Well, with certain stuff. Now women they more competitive with superficial stuff.
Okay.
I think that men, when it come to money, hold on now, how much you making, cuz? Come on. Let me go check.
Is that an ego?
Hold on, I need to get up there.
On what?
Yeah, something like that.
So be honest then. Do you even want to do you want to know how much your friends make? Like, would it make you feel a type of way? Like, honestly, I'm not saying jealous, but like, is there like, do you go into competition mode then? Like, oh, I got to make more than him then at some point.
Maybe subconsciously, but I would honestly prefer just not to know. Because we don't even need to know. We chilling. And like, I feel like you know if somebody making more money than you most of the time. Like, I think I know which friends make more than me, and I think I know which friends make less than me. Yeah. And it's all cool, but we don't got to talk about numbers now unless, for example, if my guy Jay, because he's a finance guy.
I assume he make money.
I know he make money.
I assume he do.
And I would be crazy. Like, if I would probably be able to tell him how much I make just because, hey, boss, I'm going to make more.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. So it is situational, but we're not finna just be sitting around, hey, how much you make? How much you make? No, we ain't finna do that.
Interesting, because now you got me wondering. So the scenario I gave you with my friend, that is real. She literally did tell me, yeah, I just got this new job, and I literally did say, oh, how much they paying? Like, because we're just like that. She and we just are very open like that. However, now I'm trying to think about the other friends whom I know. You know what? The very first friend that ever told me she made six figures, this was during COVID. So it was like, you making six figures during COVID? For one, but then for two, she was in sales. So I think that's why she told me that. Like, I'm trying to remember, like, why is it that I even know how much certain friends make? It's not like we sit around a dinner table and say, all right, who makes the most? You got the check. Like, it's not like that. But it comes up organically. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think my friend who is in sales, and for that matter, I have two friends that are in sales, they both were making six figures years ago. And I'm talking making six figures when, like, it just was not a thing for me yet. So I was like in awe, but like I didn't look at it as like jealousy, or I didn't look at it as competition. I looked at it like that's what I want to aspire to. You feel me? Yeah. And it's all about your mindset. And I know that's easier said than done, but you still bring up such a great point, because I don't even want to give my friends a reason to feel a type of way. And you do have to be careful about those type of things. Let me ask you, though, what was your very first job? Like, I'm curious, where did you start as far as, like, the job and, like, the income spectrum? And not that you got to break down all that.
I'll break it on.
Where did you start?
I'll break it on down.
You going to break it down? Go ahead, break it down.
My first job, I was 16 years old.
Okay.
I'm going to Brown Deer. My first job was Culver's in Brown Deer.
Was it?
Oh, man. It's crazy. I look back. I missed that job. I think I took it for granted. However,
I went through the drive-thru when you was working at Culver's.
I did everything at Culver's. I was the cashier. I was obviously doing the ice cream stuff, making the ice cream. Yeah. I used to be on the drive-thru. Yeah. I was in the kitchen. I done did everything at Brown Deer.
How long did you work there?
I worked there for about 6 months. Okay. Then I jumped ship.
You do a lot of things in 6 months.
Oh, I did a lot.
Wow. But that's fast food industry. Wait, sorry, real quick before you continue. Good. Is that fast food?
It's fast food. However, the burgers are real.
Right. Oh, I know that.
Okay, yeah.
But I've always said that Culver's is like high scale fast food.
Yeah.
Because it's made to order, but it's quick. But you know what I mean? Like, anyway. Okay.
No, it's bougie fast food.
Period.
You know.
Right, so keep going anyway.
Like, I'll go to Culver's over McDonald's, obviously. But so I got that job, and this is when we were talking about this, I said I got a story because my auntie, who's like 60 something, or 70 something, like she old, so like she from that era where you don't talk about that.
Right.
So I was working at Culver's. Probably a month in, I was getting $7.50 an hour. Oh. Because this back in the day, this 2016. I know.
$7.50. But you're also in high school. Money is money when you're in high school.
Hey, I was rich. What you talking about?
I know you were.
So I was getting $7.50. Okay. But then a couple weeks later, I look at my check.
Oh.
And I'm up to $8 an hour.
Period.
And I'm like geeked, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, I gotta raise this quick.
Right.
I'm thinking this is just normal.
Yeah.
So I go to work the next day. I'm telling all my coworkers, hey, I got a raise. I get $8 an hour. How much you make? Next thing I know, this girl named Jasmine. My bad, Jasmine. I don't want to.
Sorry, Jasmine.
But Jasmine, she ended up going to the managers complaining, talking about how he make this. I've been working here longer and I didn't get a raise.
Stop.
Oh, man.
And you were innocent. You didn't know.
I had no clue.
Of course.
The managers never came and said nothing to me, but I
Right.
didn't get a raise after that. I ain't getting no more raises after that, but I did leave fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But when I told my auntie that, she was like, this is why you never tell anybody how much you make. Like, you keep that to yourself. It's really a taboo subject. Y'all don't have to discuss how much you make. You just go to work, get yours, they get theirs, and leave it at that. So I think that was the first experience, and I think that kind of programmed my mind to like, no, you don't talk about that. Like, you don't talk about how much you make.
Valid. And you know what? That's beyond valid, because that's your first experience, A, with a job, and then B, something like that happens. You said you were a month in?
A couple weeks. I'm talking, I got a check, and then the next check, it was up to $8.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, no wonder. You're a kid. Again, like, when your kids say anything, they're very honest, okay? Y'all are truth tellers, okay?
Yes.
Listen, it is nothing but the truth with kids.
Precisely.
And I feel like that's a very innocent thing for you to have done, but it's also probably the universe's way of teaching you that lesson of, you do have to be very mindful of that, especially with your coworkers.
Exactly.
Because, like, I don't remember the last time I was in a job where it was like that, where you're working with people who all are doing the same thing as you. That's a tough environment.
Tough.
Because obviously you were doing a stellar job. You were doing something right where you got that raise, but then you got this person who's been here longer, which, sorry to say, I don't always think that seniority equals higher pay. I'm sorry. I just don't. Because you could be in the same job for 20 years and you could be doing a, half, job in comparison to somebody that's only been there for 6 months. Sure, the one that's new is probably excited and ready to go to work and doing other things. But still, if you're there for 12 years and you're still pulling the same weight you've been pulling for the last, decade and a half, that's not on this new person. And this new person is going to be rewarded for their work. But I can see how it can create conflict. So you never got another raise after that, and from then on, you never discussed money.
I never discussed money because I felt like I shouldn't do that. And no, I don't believe seniority. Bro, I was there going crazy. Just kind of like here, like how, bro, I've always been, I want my hands in everything.
Yeah,
like, hey,
yeah.
what you need? Okay,
and Jason
bet.
really
I'm gonna
is
do
like
that.
that, y'all. You really are.
So, like, listen, I went there, I'm busted, I'm wiping off the tables, I'm mopping the floor every time, I'm cleaning the bathrooms to end the shift. I'm coming in, I'm literally leaving from school, coming right there, eat, get right to work.
Wow,
I'm doing everything in that mug. So, listen, Jasmine.
Sorry, Jasmine. That's funny. But you know what, too? The fact that it was, so let me say, a woman or a girl? Was she a kid?
No, she was a girl. She was like a year older than me.
Okay. Oh, yeah, no, she wasn't having that.
Nah.
I can speak for my fellow ladies. No. If I were her, I would have said the exact, I'm not going to lie. I would have. What is this? Come on now, don't have me cussing here now. Come on, Govers. But shout out to Govers. Do love y'all. But I feel, Jason, that brings into the discussion this idea of keeping the lid on how much you make, like when it comes to, discussing it with your coworkers. But what do you do when you're in a situation? Let's say you're here at the radio station, you get promoted, and they come to you with a dollar amount, for whatever the role may be, whether it's producer or whatever it is. And you know someone who's been in that role. Let's say that you literally know the person whom you are replacing, but that person's no longer here. How do you feel about going to that individual saying, hey, this is how much money they offered me. This is how much money I was making. What do you think? And can you tell me how much you are making? Let's say this person's no longer here anymore. They've left the place of employment and you're now taking over for them. How do you feel about that conversation?
That happened with me here.
Really?
So like, yeah. So like, I've actually done that.
You have.
So like, I now he didn't tell me how much he made.
Okay.
However, he
Did you
told.
ask?
Huh?
Did you ask?
I did ask.
You asked.
And because like I wanted to see if I was
Of
getting
course.
like what
Of
I want.
course.
He never told
He never
me how
told
much
you.
he made. However, he told me that he made I think he said like 25% higher or something like that. So in my head, it was like, okay, bet. Let's see what we're doing and where we're going.
Course.
So when it came time, you know what I'm saying? And I just feel like that should be standard. Like with that's okay because you have a specific goal in mind and you're using it to collect information to help you out in the future. That's okay.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Now, if it was not that scenario, me and him would not be talking about how much either one of us make.
Right. And I want to know from y'all, let us know in the comments, how do you feel about knowing how much your coworkers make, how much your friends make? Do you think it's an appropriate discussion? Do you think it's something that is valuable? Or do you think it's something that's still a little, I don't know if taboo is the word that I would use, but like in your mind, is it considered taboo? Do you think it's disrespectful? Do you not want to ruffle feathers? Are you like Jason where, you don't want someone to feel a certain type of way because they know that you make this wage and perhaps they've been in that role longer and they're not making as much as you? Let us know in the comments. But I want to get into why it is that our generations, millennial, Gen Z, why we are more comfortable with discussing topics that are more taboo, like money, so openly. Personally, from my viewpoint, I think it's because we know just how much our, I guess I'll call them like ancestors, but really the pioneers, the people who came before us, we know how much they maybe had to struggle to get to a place where they were making their worth. And I know as a woman, and then as a Black woman, to add on to that, I don't think we've made our worth. I mean, to this day, women are not paid equally when it comes to their services in relation to what men also do. They are not paid equally. And I don't know if we ever will be paid equally, unfortunately. Now, we can get into the whole WNBA pay versus NBA pay, but let's be honest. That's about revenue. That's about streams. That's about marketing. Now, the WNBA, of course, has seen a huge surge. Shout out to our girls. But this is a very new idea of them actually getting even close to what the NBA, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the first season, by the way, if I read it correctly, that the WNBA, they got chartered flights for all of their teams. It wasn't that long ago. I'm talking within the last handful of years, Jason, like literally, I think after 2020, there was an article that went viral where there were teams that were being fined because they were chartering their own plane for their teams, and they were being fined because they're like, we don't do that. You can't do that. It's a whole thing. Like, it's crazy when you think about that. And again, we're still a long ways away from it being equal. But like when it comes to pay, why is it that we are so much more open with discussing? I think it's because I've seen people not get paid their worth. I have. And in my role, I never talked to Zora Stevenson. I never talked to Katie George, the two women who came before me. I didn't ask them, how much did you make? Because they were the team reporters in different, like, how do I say it? Katie George was a sideline reporter during the 18-19 season. Zora was a sideline reporter, from 1920 until the last season before I joined. I feel like the times were different. Maybe the revenue was different. Their experience was different from mine. So like, I never felt comfortable asking them directly, how much did you make in this role? But I have asked other counterparts around the league, and it has been comparable, but they live in, like I said, different areas where the cost of living just varies. So, you almost have to compare it in that regard. But I've definitely heard people, when I was in my arena host role, we have a group chat. And we've talked about that stuff. And the pay scale is, listen. But I think it depends on how many followers you have. I think it depends on, again, the market that you're in. I think it depends on how much your organization is asking of you. Some in-arena hosts literally show up for a game and leave. Some people do pregame stuff. Some people do postgame. Some people do halftime. Like, some people do events. And I feel like it's all about what goes into it. But why is it important to, I guess, have money conversations, or why is it important to not have those money conversations? For me, I think it's important because, again, I've learned from the people before me, I'm going to get paid my worth, and if I don't, closed mouths don't get fed. I've learned that from a very young age, and I've just never been shy about like telling people I think this is how much I'm worth, and then you can tell me why you disagree or why you agree. You know what I'm saying? Let's have some dialogue. Let's talk about it. But I don't believe in just accepting that very first dollar amount that they slide across the table at you. So Jason, in your opinion, you know, from where you are in life and just from being a Gen Zer, why is that money discussion, why is it important? Or why do you think it's not important? I don't think we need to be discussing it at all.
So I do think that one reason why our generations are more acceptable or accepting or willing to talk about money.
Yeah.
You made a good point. You got deep on me. I wasn't even thinking that, but that's the true reason. But another reason is social media, because we're so interconnected with each other.
Definitely.
Not even just social media, but I just feel like our generations are just so much more connected with each other.
I think so too.
Like we and that's through the power of the internet, video games, all types of stuff.
But we feel like we know so much about everybody.
We feel like we know people we ain't never met before.
Truly.
Because of social media.
Truly.
So like we feel so connected. We like, hey, you my cousin anyway. So hey, you my Instagram cousin.
Right,
so hey.
right.
But I do think it's important reason to talk about it is so you know you're not getting treated unfairly. Like that's one of the main reasons why it's okay and why you should talk about it.
Right.
Because if I know we're doing the same job and I'm going harder than you and you getting more than me,
right.
especially if we different skin colors.
Come on.
Oh, now we really got a problem.
I know it.
Actually, I got another story literally about that with my cousin Aaron.
Okay.
This dude rich. He live in Atlanta right now. But he was working for this group, this company called Metavante, right? And he was going crazy.
I remember Metavante.
I don't know nothing about it, but my auntie tell me the story probably every week.
Okay.
But he was working for Metavante, boom, 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 going. It's right when the debit cards came out. And so he was going to different places, teaching them how to use debit, online banking, and all of that. And he made his first $1 million. He was going crazy, killing everybody in sales.
Okay.
However, it was this young lady, a Caucasian young lady, who was selling half as much as he was selling, doing half as what he was doing. Yet she was making about 50 times more than what he was making. So what did he do?
What?
He quit.
Oh.
He sued, got rich, and left. Yeah, he sued.
Really?
He sued the company.
But like, what were the grounds? Like on the grounds of
I forget what it was, but I know it was some unfair something. They pulled up all the facts. He sued, he got that money, he left the company, he went to Atlanta, started his own private equity or whatever he was doing.
And
so yeah, he in a situation like that, yes, I would be pissed.
Well, and you know what, then that brings up such a different, it brings up a great point as to why it's important to have those discussions. Because look, that may have never happened, and that company probably learned something from that lawsuit too.
Exactly.
Okay? Wow, interesting. Well, I do think that money talks, they do matter. Like I genuinely do. I think that it helps because, and Jason, he made some really good points in us, kind of discussing this before the show. You know, negotiating raises, making sure that you're being fairly compensated. However, you also did mention some of the downsides, Jason, i.e. the envy of it all. And, perhaps there being that weird, cloud over, maybe a relationship or a friendship or even just a coworkership, whatever it may be. And you don't want that. But, Jason, something I've learned with age, you have to be number one in your life. You know what I mean? And, again, not to, drive a potential wedge or anything, but I often think that normal everyday discussions can lead to even more self-discovery than we realize. And sometimes when you are having these uncomfortable conversations, it kind of points you in the direction of who your people are and who aren't. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying you should toe that line or you should risk it and start telling all your friends what you make and then to see who your real friend. It's not about that. No, I think that you have real ones because you're a real one. But that being said, you'd be surprised at how these seemingly innocent conversations can lead you to find out more about a person, maybe that you didn't want to know, but that you needed to know. You feel me?
Oh, man, you unpacking right now.
I'm sorry.
You unpacking right now. I can't lie to you. Hey, listen. I think subconsciously that could be the case,
and you don't want to know.
But I think I'm just scared.
Of course, of course.
So I'm just hey, you know what? We just gonna leave it be. Hey,
You get on the game tonight? I bet.
And that's easier. Well, and that actually leads us to our next conversation in regards to this. You think men and women discuss money differently?
Oh, yeah. Without question.
Really? Talk to me about your girlfriends who you said you know how much they make, but you don't know how much. Like, I want to understand, why do you know how much they make and you don't know how much your guys make?
Because they'll tell me. Like they sit and they talk about it. Like, they will be sitting and they'll be talking about it. They'll come tell me, like, yeah, I'm making this, or I'm only making this and I need to be making more.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to... I know the full check. So, like, how much they check was when they got the check. And I think because women, y'all, I don't know. Y'all more willing to talk about stuff like that. Yeah. Like, for example, y'all talk about everything. Y'all tell each other everything about relationships. Man, don't get me started. Jeez.
But Jason,
relationship stuff.
Shame. And I don't know if that's a woman thing. I have no shame. Like, genuinely, I'm like, I'll talk about whatever, because I think it's going to help somebody.
Man, y'all tell y'all friends everything, every little detail of the relationship. The screenshot, send it to the group chat. Like, dude, I go around to friends and they know everything about us. What's going on right now? We don't do that. Like, we not finna sit down with each other and break down. Now, if something big happens, like, yes, we can go to our guy, our brother for, you know what I'm saying, consolation to talk about it. We still not finna air out every single detail about it. So I think, in general, women are just so much more open and, like, I want to say trusting, but that's a line that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But no matter what, women are more open, especially with their friends. So I think that is why y'all more comfortable with that. Us, bro, we're not talking about that.
Okay, let me ask you this then. How do you feel about knowing how much your partner makes while you're dating, not your, like, spouse? Even in the talking phase, even in the boyfriend-girlfriend phase, do you want to know how much your partner makes?
Talking phase, I don't think matter.
Okay.
But when we get together in a relationship, yeah, like we can easily talk. We can easily discuss that. Like, I remember my ex. Like, I didn't have her bank account, but I've made her a savings account, telling her, kind of helping her figure that out. So I think when y'all in a relationship, that's okay. Y'all working together, y'all won. Like, at the end of the day. But the talking stage, nah, because we ain't crossed that threshold yet. Hold on, wait. And me personally, I don't care. If I like you, I like you. However, no, talking stage, do not talk about it. Once you get past that talking stage, yes, let's talk about it.
Yeah, I agree. I've only really known my ex, and I'm talking ex from like years ago, when we lived together. Like, I knew how much he made, obviously, and at the time, he made more than me. And so he paid more in rent. You know, and God bless them, because not everybody is, like, into that, believe it or not, which is crazy. Like, it's like, why wouldn't you pay what you can and let them pay what they can? Like, I believe in that, but I'm a woman, I could say that. If I was dating a man who made less, first off, I hate to say it, I don't think I would date a man who makes less than me. That's a whole other conversation. Sorry, y'all, I'm being honest. Let me know in the comments how you feel about that, ladies. Would you date a man who makes less money than you? I gotta be honest, I don't think I would. I'm sorry. I plan on making my own riches and fortunes. I do, but I also want a man who's gonna be making money like that. So, whole other discussion. But my ex, he did make more than me at the time. He made almost double. So he paid almost double in rent. And I really appreciated that. But then I fast forward to now, I've known how much money, like, guys that I talk to make, because Jason, almost every guy that tries to date me finds a way to tell me how much money they make. I'm not going to lie to you.
See, that's them trying to flex.
For sure. For sure. But it's sexy. I'm like, parent, wait, how much? Wait, the check say what?
It worked, though. You know what I'm saying?
I hate that. Because it's not even about the money. It's not about the money. But let's be honest. Money is protection. Money is providing. You know what I mean? Money is being able to care for. And, like, one of my love languages is gift giving. And it's not about, like, giving me a big luxurious gift. But, like, if you bring me home some flowers, oh my gosh, putty. You know what I'm saying? I'm melting into a whole little pile on the floor. But, like, you need money to buy flowers. And I think that it's one of those things where, sure, let's say a dozen roses is what, $20? That adds up if you bring home a dozen roses every week. You feel me? And so, anyway, my point in that, I think that if a guy were to share with you, like, yeah, I make this much money, there is a little bit of a flex in that. But there also is a little bit of a, is that tacky that they're telling me? Like, you feel me? Like, it's like, why do you feel the need to lead? And they don't lead with it. But like I said, almost every guy I've ever talked to, I've known how much money they make. Because they find a way to tell me. I don't ask. But like they do find a way to tell me. And it is a little bit like, why do you feel the need to add that to your repertoire? Like, why can't I just like you for you? You know what I mean? And your personality and everything else. But they're like, nah, you got to know how much money I also make. How do you feel about that? Like, do you feel okay with telling women who you talk to, like, yeah, I make this much, whether it's to flex or for them to know this is what I'm working with? You feel me? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I feel you. But no, I ain't finna tell her that. No. You need to like me for me. You don't need to be worrying about what's in my bank account. Period. Because it'll say all that go away. Like, come on now. Right. You're not going to mess with me at all. No, you need to like me for me. You need to understand who I am. Now, however. I do bring them to the station and give them a little tour. Yeah, you do. You know what I'm saying? I give them a little. When we go out and do stuff, say we got a brewer suite. Like we got a brewer suite, I'm bringing it with me. You know what else? So it's certain, or if I'm, I get some like bucks. They be blessing with tickets and stuff. So come on now, I got some tickets to the bus game, and we can go, backstage, or we can go, like I guess it's technically backstage, but we can go on the floor. We can get media. Yeah, we can get media passes and stuff. Yeah, I'll go flex like that. Even Milwaukee Night Market tonight. I got a VIP thing. I'm finna bring a girl with me. I'm gonna flex like that. But I'm not finna sit here and just tell you the dollar amount of how much I make. You don't need to know that.
I feel that. I do. Well, I'm going to tell all the guys out there right now, depending on how much the dollar amount is, it can be attractive. But that being said, I agree with you. Most of us, want to like you for you. And if we're into it for the money, you'll know that. Oh, you'll know immediately. We're not even going to hide it. I'm sorry. Because, it is what it is. You need to know what it is, and I'm going to tell you what it is, and vice versa. Because sometimes men just want a cute lady on their arm, and so therefore they're going to show you the money, honey. Right?
And I feel that, especially like when you get old, say you old, you like 70, you just chilling, you rich.
Hey, why not?
Why not? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, get somebody, like eye candy with you. Y'all know the deal. Y'all understand. Y'all got the relation. Yeah. Me personally, I don't see no wrong with that one. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Me neither. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Teach their own. Like, this is a judgment-free zone. Let's be very clear here. This is totally judgment-free. But when it comes to money, it's hard not to feel a little bit judged. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't know. You know what, too, Jason? Is there ever going to be enough money? I don't think there will ever be enough.
What does that mean?
What does that even mean? Like, I could be a billionaire and still find a way to feel like it's not enough. You feel me? So, like, money is what you make it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's what you do with it. And genuinely, I really do mean this. The sexiest thing that a man can do is tell you that he's investing. You know what I mean? That he's saving, that he has plans, that he doesn't just go and spend it frivolously. Like, that is what's really sexy. You can tell me how much money you make all day, every day, but what's in your savings account? Not that you need to tell me the number. I'm not trying to be like that. Yeah. But, like, what are you doing with those finances? Are you just using it to flex? And now here you are, making $500 a month car payments because this car that you feel like you need to have so that people know you have money, but it's like all your money is going toward that car. Like, well, what you know what I mean? Like, what else can you even spend that money on? There's nothing left. Like, I'm just saying, like, what are you doing with that money? How are you investing that money? And how are you, like, presenting yourself with that? Because I don't love the whole, like, label. Now, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But I do tend to agree with the notion of, what is it? Money talks, but wealth whispers. I think that's the phrase. And again, it's a judgment-free zone. However, just giving all the men out there advice, we don't love it when men try to overly flex, because then you're overly compensating for something else, maybe a personality disorder, perhaps a smaller eggplant. Maybe you're compensating for the fact that you don't save your money very well and you spend it on designer duds. I don't know what it is. But we can spot that red flag from a mile away. You know what I mean? And some women, they'll ignore it, but only for so long. So trust me when I say, like, if you're a man who makes, I don't care if you make $30,000 a year, if you know how to invest that money and you're spending it wisely and you still are able to provide things to your partner, or make them feel good, or make them feel like, hey, this is where I'm at right now, but at some point we're going to go all the way up here. That's what's attractive. That's what's sexy. But not everyone dates for the potential. A lot of people date for what it is right here in the moment. So I know that, obviously that's going to be situational. As you said earlier, when I asked you, is it appropriate to talk about money? You said that's situational. And I think a lot of things in life are. But that being said, I do want to get into our game that we're going to play because I love the scenarios that you came up with, Jason. So why don't we go ahead and get into this game and see what we can come up with?
Yes, Mel, this game is called Is It Rude or Not?
Okay.
Because we're talking about money, discussing money.
Yeah.
So let me go. I'm going to break down a few scenarios. Well, I guess I'm going to just ask you a few questions.
Okay.
And you need to tell me whether or not that is considered rude.
Okay.
First scenario.
Okay.
Asking about a friend's salary. Is it rude to ask a friend directly how much they make?
I don't think it is because I think that if you have a close enough relationship with that friend, it's just normal conversation. However, I view money as a very normal thing. I don't view money as taboo. I don't view money as a weapon. I don't think that is something that, it should be like used to make somebody jealous or make somebody feel a way. But that's me. I think that it depends on the person and it depends on your intention behind it. When I ask my friend, how much money are they going to pay you? To be honest, like for real, I asked that question because I wanted to make sure she was getting her worth because I know what she's worth. Yeah. I know what she brings to that job, but do they know? And of course, it's not like I could be like, hey, I think you're paying her not enough. Like, it's not that, but I wanted to be her supporter, be her cheerleader, be like, yeah, girl, they paying you what? Girl, you know what I mean? Like, I'm that friend, you know what I'm saying? And like in a good way. And she told me and they paying her well, okay? And I hyped her up for that. So no, I don't think it's rude.
Okay, boom. That is not rude.
Not rude.
Second scenario, borrowing money from a friend. Is it rude to ask a friend to lend you money without specifying when you'll pay it back?
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. Jason. Okay. First off, I think that borrowing money is so uncomfortable. I have done it one time. I did borrow money from a friend one time. It was actually during COVID. And it was, what? I don't remember. If something came up and I was not making literally, I was not making money at all. I had been furloughed. It was before the station had launched. Everything was just rock bottom. I borrowed, it was such a small amount. I want to say maybe $200-$300. It wasn't a lot. But I said to her, I'm going to pay you back in 2 weeks. And I will. Like, period, that's it. You know what I'm saying? And I paid it back in a week. But I made sure to specify that. And not only did I specify that, not that I was saying all right, I'm going to pay you back in this many days and then this. It wasn't that, but I made sure that it wasn't like I just stopped contacting her until I paid her. Like, I still made sure we were keeping some sort of dialogue or I was commenting on her posts. Or I didn't want her to think I just disappeared. You feel me? But friends have asked me for money before, and I have loaned friends money, and I have always been like, but this has to be the stipulation. It has to be by this point, but I'm going to tell you right now, the rule of thumb, do not loan money that you cannot afford to lose, period. I don't care how close that friend is. I don't care if it's family. It could be your own mama. Some people don't pay money back because they can't. It is what it is, so make sure if you are ever loaning money out, you can afford to lose that dollar amount, for real. Because I don't think any friendship is worth money. Money is not worth any friendship, period. It's just not. So just be okay when you loan that money out. Hopefully their word is good, but just know there's a chance they may not, there's a 50-50. They may not pay it back, so make sure that you're okay with that. But yeah, so rude. You have to give them a date. You have to. Have you ever asked for money from a friend?
I don't ask money from friends. I can't do it.
I don't blame you.
I can't from my family, my auntie. So my auntie raised me. So that's why I always talk about my auntie.
Yeah.
I ask money from my auntie. I ain't gonna lie to you.
But not your friends.
But now I don't even really want to ask money from my auntie, because I'm grown now and I don't want to.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, I don't ask people for money.
No, I don't blame you. I was the opposite, where I felt uncomfortable asking family, so I went to my best friend. Wow. She was the only person in my life I felt comfortable with, because I knew she wouldn't judge me. And I knew she would be able to afford to give it to me. But that's interesting that you say that only your family.
Yeah, only my family.
Interesting.
And I've loaned money out.
You have, but you won't ask, but you've loaned.
I've loaned,
And what happened?
Sometimes I get it back. Sometimes I don't get it back.
See, and I've had that issue even with I'll loan a book out and I won't see that book again.
I will never see that book again.
Are you kidding me? It's a book. Get it back. Or buy me a new copy.
See, but you did good because you stayed in contact with them. A lot of people, they like to just ghost you, and then you
you won't
bro,
have them again.
You know you owe me this money. You know you do.
Exactly. Exactly.
Man,
But
bang!
desperate times. But that being said, though, do you have someone where, let's say you absolutely needed to? Do you have someone in your life?
Oh, without question.
Okay,
like,
good,
I know I
good.
have people who I can. I just choose not to. Maybe
Jay.
it's a lot. Some of it's ego. I'm not gonna lie. Like, probably a little bit of it pride. Like, no, I got this. I'm gonna figure this out. Like, I don't need help. But if I ever got into a real jam, like, I know I got people, and I think that's why it's like I'm gonna try to figure this out first. And if I cannot figure this out, then I will ask, bro. But I'm always able to figure it out. So
Yeah. Period.
Third scenario, though, Mel. It's time for the third scenario. Discussing your financial struggles.
Okay.
Is it rude to frequently talk about your financial struggles with friends who seem to be doing well?
Yes, I do.
Why is that rude?
I think it's rude because I think that you're setting up an awkward conversation, and B, I think that it's your way of underhandedly asking for a handout. You know what I mean? Or making them feel bad for doing well. And that's not their fault. You know what I mean? I think even on a subconscious level, people do that, but I think very consciously people do that as well.
Success shaming.
Dog. And that's the real thing. And that's exactly what you started this conversation with. You don't want to make people jealous. And like, people will literally make you feel away for doing well. But Jason, and that's why I said this to you, I think you have great friends. I really do. Again, you're a real one and you keep real ones around you. But I also think that as you continue to navigate this journey that we call life, as you get older, you will learn the people who are for you and who aren't so much for you, the people who are in your life for a season, for a reason, all of that, right? Believe it or not, even the people who you never thought you would reach those crossroads with, it happens. It just does. And I think that it's little things like this that lead you to see who people really are. You know, I would never, ever discuss about like my money troubles, turmoils, etc. I just wouldn't do that with somebody, especially if I knew they were doing well, because I know that's going to make them feel bad for me. And I don't want anybody to feel bad for me, for one. But for two, why should I drag you down to where I am? I see you sitting, I'm trying to get up to where you are. You feel me? Let's talk about your success. Don't talk about my failures. Tell me how I can get to your level. Talk to me about what you did to get to where you are. That's how I more so try to view it. And I think even with the friend that I did borrow money from, I think that was the only point in which I actually discussed it to that degree with her, but it was because I was asking her for help. You know what I mean? It wasn't, and I don't even like, yeah, sure, you can say asking for a favor. I don't even want to look at it like that. I literally needed help, and she was there for me. You know what I mean? And she will always be there for me, and I will always be there for her. Like, I'll never forget that. You know what I mean? Like, that's my sister for life. And not even just because of that, but clearly I knew that, you know, I was comfortable enough with her to be able to ask that. And not only did she provide for me, literally provided for me. And I have 2 dogs. Like, I had children to take care of. But she provided for us during a troubling time, but she never asked me about it. She never brought it up again. To this day, she would never bring it up. We've never discussed it since. She would never throw it in my face. She would never oh, remember that one time? Never. And she's a real one for that. And, you know, and I never, you know, told her when I was, you know, struggling with things, but I knew that she was doing well because she was one of the women in sales that I told you about, that's why I knew how much she made, because she's in sales. She's telling me about all this stuff she's killing, all these things she's selling, all this and that. And even when I wasn't doing as great with money, she didn't shy away from she didn't say oh, I made an extra $20,000, nothing like that. But if she did something that she was proud of, she, you know, got a new client or she sold to a client that's really tough, she would still share that with me. And not even on some I want you to know I made this extra money, but just on some, I accomplished this week and I feel good. And I love that she was never afraid to share that with me and I with her. And we continue to share our successes with one another. And she's just one of those people, but never in a way where it was oh, I know she's doing well, so let me see if I can get something from her because she'll feel bad. Never that. And so, yeah, that's the long and short, of course. But I think that that's one of the worst things that a person can do. And I appreciate you asking that question because it is those little underlying things that people do where you have to really look at who your friends are. You know what I mean? Because even the closest ones to you, because they are so close to you, they know how to get to you, you know? And you have to recognize that, and that's sad. It sucks, but that's the real question.
That's why you need real people around you. That's why you need people who genuinely love you for you.
Yes.
Like one of the reasons why
I love my friends. Like, first off, you know this, but my friends, we all been the same friends since 7th grade. Like literally nothing. Every single friend I got, I'm talking like brother and sister, are the same people since 7th grade. So we so locked in to the point where it would take something catastrophic for it to like dismantle it.
Right.
And I like how you put it as viewing it as inspiration instead of insecurity.
Yes.
Like, dude, like I love to hear success stories because that make me feel good and that inspire me to hey, my guy doing this. Listen, if my guy got a blessing, what they used to say in church, listen, if your neighbor got a blessing, you up next.
That part.
So if my guy got a blessing, come on, like we can obviously work together. I can draw inspiration, I can gain influence from him, and we can both rise to the top. I think that it's about having a abundance mindset instead of a scarcity mindset. My Uncle Vernon told me that the world is a sea of money. You just got to learn how to swim. It's enough for everybody.
That part.
So like it's all about mindset at the end of the day.
I couldn't agree more. No, I couldn't agree more. I'd love for y'all to let us know in the comments just like how y'all feel about discussing money, that money conversation overall. Do you feel comfortable borrowing money from people or lending money out to folks? And why do you think money matters? Like, why is it that conversation, why is it so key? Or why do you feel like it's a conversation that's best left unsaid, frankly? And that's okay if that's where you fall. But I'd love to hear the why of it all, because I definitely feel that, you know, as we continue to grow and as we continue to change from generation to generation, it's very interesting the things that at one point were considered so taboo or so distasteful, how now it's very open. It's very like, why wouldn't you discuss it? But then you have your generation, or maybe it's because you're a guy, I don't know, where you're still like, no, I really don't. Like, it's very interesting to see just the differing opinions on that. And then again, my mom being like, I can't believe you just asked her how much money. Now my friend and I are like, we talk about this all the time. You know, like, it's just so interesting seeing like the different point of views on that discussion when it comes to money, because money is definitely one of those, one of the most taboo subjects, I think, to discuss to this day. But I'm very open about it. If we're close, I'll tell you how much money I make, but because we're close and I feel like we can, and I like to think there's a greater purpose. It's not just about me telling you I make this much money. It's about like, okay, how much more money can we make? Or how much money can you make? Or like, what can we strive to? Like you said, what can I aspire to? I think that can be a very rewarding conversation. And like I said at the beginning, making sure that you get your worth. I think it's so important. I have gotten gigs where I've done like, you know, influencing or social media stuff where they'll offer me a dollar amount and I know someone that's worked with them and I'll go to that person and be like, hey, how much did you make? Because of that, I've been able to negotiate something higher because they'll give you a number. And if you take it, they're like, bet. It's not that they're trying to lowball you. It's just that's the initial number. That don't mean that's all they can offer you. You know what I mean? And so that's another reason why I think that these conversations are so important. And last thing I'll say, if you are working an event or getting into a job or a field that you've never been in before, why not talk to somebody who's seen that, you know what I mean, that familiar territory for them? It's unfamiliar to you. It's foreign to you. Doesn't mean you have to enter into it in a foreign mindset. No, do all the research, get all the answers that you can so that you can make a solid, concrete, and like healthy decision for yourself, because this is your livelihood. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's just a one-off gig, it's still part of your livelihood. And I don't think anyone will ever regret discussing that with somebody, especially someone who can help them and it can be beneficial toward their future. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I feel like, Jason, that being said, you and your bros need to discuss money more. No, just kidding. No, just kidding. Nah, keep it to where you're comfortable. Keep it to where you're comfortable. But hopefully when you do need to have those conversations, hopefully you will be open to doing that.
I'm pretty sure it'll all work out good. But we'll see where it goes, Mel. I'll keep you updated.
Please do. Hey, let us know what y'all thought about this money conversation. Let us know how much money you make in the comments. Nah, just playing. Don't do all that.
You want to know how much you making, man?
I just want to know. So I can compare myself. Nah, just playing. Hey, I'm proud of all of y'all, though. I know that these conversations are not easy to have, but let us know. Do you think it's important to discuss money? Do you talk money with your folks? Is it taboo? Is it one of those things where you just don't do? Let us know in the comments. This is another episode of Nothing But the Truth with Melanie Ricks. Shout out to Jason Smith. Double J?
Jason Smith, but the people call me Double J.
Double J. Hey, we'll see you next week. Have a good rest of your day, y'all.